Most people think manipulation looks obvious. Lying, yelling, gaslighting. But the most effective manipulators rarely raise their voice. They raise your doubts. They don't force you to believe them. They quietly influence the way you think until you start questioning yourself. Today, I'm exposing 7 psychological manipulation tactics that many people never notice. Some of these techniques are documented in psychology research, while others are commonly discussed by experts who study influence and abusive relationship dynamics. Once you recognize these patterns, they're much harder to miss. And the final one is often the hardest to detect. Number 1. Conversational ownership. Some manipulators don't try to win arguments. They control what the conversation is about. Imagine asking someone, "Why didn't you show up yesterday?" Instead of answering directly, they reply, "Why do you always assume the worst about me?" Suddenly, the conversation isn't about their behavior anymore. It's about your personality, your reaction, your supposed flaws. Without realizing it, you're defending yourself instead of getting an answer. They didn't need to lie. They simply redirected the spotlight. Number 2. Strategic vulnerability. This one can be incredibly difficult to recognize because genuine vulnerability is healthy, but sometimes people reveal personal pain at a very specific moment to influence your decision. Maybe it's a heartbreaking childhood story, a trembling voice, perfectly timed tears. You immediately lower your guard because you feel empathy. Empathy is a beautiful human quality. But when vulnerability is used mainly to avoid accountability or gain control, it stops being connection and starts becoming influence. The goal isn't always understanding. Sometimes it's leverage. Number 3. Reverse anchoring. This tactic works because our brains compare instead of evaluate. Someone begins with an outrageous demand, an extreme accusation, or an unreasonable offer. Naturally, you reject it. Then they immediately present something that feels much more reasonable compared to the first request. It almost seems fair, but here's the twist. That second offer may have been their real objective from the beginning. It feels like a compromise, even though you're exactly where they wanted you to be. Number 4. Intentional misinterpretation. You say, "I just need some space to think." They respond, "So you're abandoning me?" Those aren't the same statement, but now you're busy explaining what you really meant instead of discussing the original issue. Some manipulators repeatedly twist ordinary statements into something more dramatic because it shifts the emotional pressure onto you. Instead of solving the problem, you're defending your intentions. Number 5. The illusion of truth effect. Here's a psychological finding that's both fascinating and unsettling. Research suggests that repeated statements often feel more believable simply because they're familiar, even when they're false. Some manipulators take advantage of this by repeating the same criticism again and again. "You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. Nobody else would have a problem with this." At first, you disagree, but after hearing the same message enough times, you may begin questioning yourself. Repetition doesn't create truth, but it can create familiarity, and familiarity can feel convincing. Number 6. Triangulation. This tactic introduces a third person into the conflict. Someone says, "Even Sarah agrees with me," or "Everyone thinks you've changed." Whether those people actually said it or not, the effect is the same. Suddenly, it feels like you're not disagreeing with one person. You're disagreeing with an entire group. That pressure can make people doubt their own perspective, even when their concerns are completely reasonable. Number 7. Emotional withdrawal. This is one of the quietest forms of influence. Instead of yelling, someone suddenly becomes emotionally unavailable. Short replies, no warmth, no eye contact, no engagement. Silence itself isn't manipulation. People sometimes need space to calm down. But when emotional withdrawal is repeatedly used to pressure someone into apologizing or giving in, it can become a powerful form of control. Eventually, the other person may apologize simply to end the discomfort, not because they actually did something wrong. The most dangerous manipulation rarely looks dramatic. It hides inside ordinary conversations, small emotional shifts, and subtle changes in attention. That's why so many people don't recognize it until much later. Remember this: a healthy relationship allows questions, boundaries, disagreement, and honest conversations without making you constantly doubt your own reality. The moment you learn to recognize these psychological patterns, you become much harder to influence without your awareness, and that's where real power begins, not in controlling others.